There's a new administration in Washington. What does that mean for your retirement account? There's a lot of uncertainty, and markets hate uncertainty. But if you qualify, you may be able to convert your retirement account into solid gold. Protect with a gold IRA this month, and Noble Gold will gift you with this stunning solid silver Apollo 11 commemorative coin from the U.S. Mint. Click on the link below or call 877-646-5346 to see if you qualify. Good afternoon. I'm still reporting on the coup. I've been down in the dumps since November 4th or 5th, whenever they finally manufactured enough ballots to beat President Donald Trump, and have been knocked down time and again every time another lawsuit was not heard. If you had hopes raised by the Texas lawsuit and then crushed when the decision was made that Texas didn't have standing to sue another state, you know what I'm talking about. If you were counting on Vice President Mike Pence to follow in the footsteps of then Vice President Thomas Jefferson and exert his authority to determine whether the electors presented were fraudulent or not, then had those hopes dashed when Pence decided that as Vice President he had no more power than the potted plant behind the dais, you are feeling the same post-Trump depression that probably the vast majority of voting Americans are this Saturday afternoon. But here is some fresh hope. There is a legal avenue that could not be taken until Biden was sworn into office. It is called a Writ of Quo Warranto. A Writ of Quo Warranto allows someone to challenge an officeholder's right to that office. It is rarely used, but it is used, and at even the smallest levels of government. A Writ of Quo Warranto goes back to British common law, when an official could be forced to prove that they were the official representative of the king. However, there was a recent case in North Carolina where a man named Todd Rotruck was thrown off the Summerfield, North Carolina Town Council after he admitted he didn't live in the town. The town council appointed a woman, who shall remain nameless, as his replacement. So Rotruck sued her by filing a Writ of Quo Warranto, claiming she was illegitimately holding his seat. Rotruck's claim wasn't legitimate, and she got to keep her seat, but the legal case was fascinating, and a spin-off over who is responsible for the legal bills of it is still being litigated in local court. The use of a Writ of Quo Warranto is not super unusual, but it is not well known either. If Trump filed a Writ of Quo Warranto against Biden, then Trump would have to prove that Biden won the election fraudulently, and absent that fraud, Trump would have been returned to the White House. The burden for Biden will be to prove that it was a fair election, and any fraudulent activity was not sufficient to change the outcome. Of course, this has been the MSM's claim all along, so they should not fear such a suit and in fact welcome it. It would give Trump, finally, the chance to produce in one place at one time the massive amount of evidence that his people have gathered about election fraud in the 6 battleground states and possibly even more. The beauty of the presidential election is that it is not one election, but 51 separate and unique elections, which is one of the factors that is supposed to make it hard to steal, and evidently makes it impossible to challenge under some legal interpretations of the laws. Well, a legal theory that does not allow a sitting president of the United States to challenge the possibility of a fraudulent election is totally unworkable. It is the kryptonite of truth, justice, and the American way. So in the era of computerized voting, with tabulators connected to the internet, someone sometime has to take this on. The Trump people have collected a massive amount of evidence of voter fraud, but have had no place to present that evidence. A Writ of Quo Warranto would give Trump a venue, the Federal District Court in Washington, D.C., and the opportunity to present all the evidence of voter fraud. Of course, that particular court may be the toughest place in the nation to prove such a case, but a growing number think this must be tried. That way, all the evidence will be laid out and enshrined for the eyes of history for centuries to come. A weighty thought that makes judges toe the line a bit more than they usually would in a more obscure case. The mainstream media, which has ignored or downplayed at best the evidence of voter fraud, would be forced to write about it if the former president was suing the sitting president, a case in American history without precedent. It appeared all the avenues for Trump to challenge the election had been shot down, but a writ of Quo Warranto is still hanging out there. I'm still reporting from just outside the citadel of American freedom. Good day. Every doctor on TV says that we all need to boost our immune systems, and STEM Enhance does that in a unique way by increasing blood levels of your own adult stem cells, the backbone of your immune system, by over 30% in just 1 hour. Click on the link in the description box below for details.